folks, it's Gel. So I went to that Pokemon Midnight launch thing and egad, look at the crowd here. I mean, seriously, they actually drew a pretty comparable crowd to Black Ops 2, which, I don't know, that just kind of makes me happy. So yeah, pick that up. Game is, pretty darn good. It's a little weird that they don't use the 3D effect much. I'm serious, like, the game is in 2D. Even though it's 3D and polygonal, it doesn't use the 3D because that takes more processing power from the 3DS. They want to make the world super detailed. So, like, it only uses the 3D for certain cutscenes, one-on-one battles, and caves. And for some reason, the 3D effect in the one-on-one battles doesn't look that impressive, and usually it winds up causing some frame rate issues and slowdown. So it's generally best to just play the game with the 3D effect off, which, again, weird, because you have the camera just all zooming around and doing all these awesome camera angles that would look super great in 3D, and then it doesn't use 3D, even though it's on the 3DS. Despite this fact, the game is incredibly polished, incredibly well-presented, good stuff. They actually added a sort of Nintendogs-style mode where you can pet your Pokemon and sort of play with them, and it uses the camera and the microphone so you can talk to them and smile at them, which, that's a great feature. And they also added in, as a parallel to that, this, like, training minigame you could play. So they did add a little more Tamagotchi-esque features to it, which I like. That's actually something I always wanted in my Pokemon. It's supposed to be all about raising your friendship with these little pocket monsters, and yet you, all you can do with them is level grind them. So I like the fact that they're expanding on that. Also, the character customization is actually pretty darn awesome. I was not expecting this. Like, I thought it was just, you can change the skin tone and there might be an option. No. There's multiple hairstyles, there's multiple hair colors, you can change the eye colors. There's different clothing in the different towns that change on different days. But Nintendo is kind of a dick about this, cause the first clothing store you come across sells nothing but hats. The second clothing store you come across won't let you in unless you have the right ensemble, and even if you do get in, it's selling super expensive, like, basically post-game clothes, alright? So, yeah, there's that, and, like, the ability to change your eye color is kind of hidden away, and the interface on changing your hairstyle is not particularly great. So, that's a little irritating, but still, actual character customization, very much appreciated. Unfortunately, I haven't gotten too terribly far in the game because, well, I have the attention span of a damn goldfish. I kind of got distracted by the fact that Skylanders decided to finally stop sucking. Seriously, I picked up Skylanders Giants a while back. It was pretty bland and unimpressive to me. It wasn't that great, and so I had these figures sitting here, and I was like, oh, these are nice, and then, I pick up Skylanders Swap Force, which I heard was from a different developer, which was why I was giving it another chance, and wow, way better game. I'll tell you all about it later. I wouldn't say it's great, but I would say it's actually good. And when you have all these figures sitting here with, a nice little very functional gimmick, and you're like, well, this gimmick works great. I've got these nice figures, but I can't do anything with them. It's really nice actually being able to use the damn things. And even better is the fact that since the save data on the figures is universal, I was able to continue leveling my characters from my 360 copy of Giants onto my Wii U copy of Swap Force. They kept all their levels. They were even wearing the same silly hats and everything. And that was... that's a pretty nice feature. It's hard to justify this physical unlock key DLC, but they really are trying their darndest to pull it off. It is, of course, at this point that someone is probably watching this and rolling their eyes and going, Gel, what the crap? Why are you playing all these stupid kiddie games? Video games have grown up, and you need to grow up too. Wait, hold on a second. A good game. Number one, a good game is a good game. regardless of who it's aimed at. It doesn't fucking matter if it's a kid's game or an adult game. A good game is a good game if it has good gameplay. At number 2, the whole fact that video games have grown up and evolved with us kind of disturbs me in a way. I mean, think about it. What were we when we started playing video games? We were kids, and the games were aimed at us, at kids. They were okay for kids to play. And then we grew up, and yeah, the games grew up, they got darker, they got more mature, they got more M-rated and stuff. And wait, what does that leave the kids? What are the kids supposed to play? Look, I'm not a proponent of the concept that video games cause violence or anything. That's just stupid. But at the same time, you really wouldn't give like a 5 or 6 or 7-year-old Grand Theft Auto and Call of Duty. The graphical fidelity has increased exponentially, and video games are much more graphic these days. They're capable of being more graphic these days. And, I'm not against violence. I'm just saying we need some more good old-fashioned E-rated violence. You know what I mean? Let me put you like this. Contra. Fucking Contra. You remember Contra. We all like Contra, right? Okay, I have some issues with some Contras, but that's beside the point. Contra. If that game were made today as a AAA game, it would be M-rated, no questions asked. But good old-fashioned classic Contra, would you really call that an M-rated game? No, I'd call that an E-rated game. It's like the video game equivalent of playing with G.I. Joes. It's nothing. Enemies fall down and they blink and they go away. Maybe in some of them they explode, but like it's nothing at all. And we grew up with that, and it was cool. It was fine. But what do kids these days have? They need good games. And there's two sides to this coin. On one hand, people, like, when I start complaining about a bad kids game, people will be like, well, what did you expect? It's a kids game, kids are dumb. But on the flip side, when one of these games is released and it gets reviewed, sometimes the scores get really jacked up because of this. See, this is one of the things, in particular with Skylanders, that annoyed me. The original Skylanders, which is very similar to Giants, and I've played Giants, and it was a very meh game. But the original Skylanders came out at around the same time as Sonic Generations. It got noticeably higher scores than Sonic Generations. And I looked at the reviews at why, and the reasoning was, it's a kids game, the kids will love it. So wait. Skylanders is a kid's game, but Sonic isn't? How does that work? What's the difference? What's the difference between Sonic and Skylanders? Well, Sonic's been around a while, and it's got these older fans, so wait, so Skylanders will be taken seriously in 10, 20 years when the kids playing it now have grown up with it? Where the balls is the logic in that? No, those two games should be reviewed on the same scale, which is the same scale all games should be reviewed on. Look, I get people saying that games aren't, these kids' games aren't for them. And that would be a good excuse if we were talking about the dumb writing and stupid jokes, fart jokes especially, and characters that don't really appeal to us, maybe some of the design aesthetic. But that's all ancillary bullcrap anyway. The most important part of any video game is the gameplay. If the gameplay is good, it's a good game. Rayman Legends, which I'll talk more about later, lots of things on my plate now. Rayman Legends, damn good game. Doesn't matter who it's aimed at, that's a good game. And at the same time, Skylanders, the first two, not very good games. They weren't bad, but they weren't great. They were very meh. They were very mediocre. They were very middle of the road, and they shouldn't be cut any more slack just because they're aimed at kids. And it's here that someone's going to say, well, my kid loved it, and they're the target audience. Yeah, guess what? As a kid, I liked Deadly Towers. Not even kidding. I sang along with that game. Loved Deadly Towers as a kid. So, yeah, don't give me that crap. A good game is a good game regardless of who it's aimed at. It's here that there's one C.S. Lewis quote that keeps getting thrown around. and I think it's very pertinent, about how when I grew up, I gave up childish things, including worrying about if I'm grown up, including worrying about what childish things are. I don't remember exactly what it is, but it is an interesting thing to reflect on. The sheer number of people who are just lose their shit about games being too childish. How damn insecure do you have to be to worry about that crap? I think that also applies to the video game industry. It's kind of having a bit of an identity crisis at the moment, where it wants to be more like movies and more mature and taken more seriously. And in order to do that, it is kind of M-rating it up and trying to justify having, you know, these more mature games. Again, I have nothing against some sex and violence in my video games. I like One Chambara, which is the video game equivalent of an exploitation movie. I think that's fine. Entertainment's whatever the fuck is entertaining, alright? Exploitation movies, and I guess exploitation games, you could say, are entertaining. So what? As long as there's good gameplay behind it, I don't give a fuck. But, yeah, I think there's kind of an issue that we're too concerned with being mature and serious. You know, on sort of a funny flip side, I think movies are doing a very good job of the opposite with the recent comic book movies and like The Hobbit and stuff. Those are like PG-13 rated. So they're these great movies that you could take kids to see, and it doesn't talk down to them. And adults want to see it as well, because they're damn good movies. And isn't that the way it should be with games? Just be a damn good game. If sex and violence and swearing are important to your game and your narrative, you know, I don't want to censor anyone. Yo, if that's your idea, go ahead, but at the same time, I think we do need to take a step back and realize, hey, what about the children? Not, we need to protect them, but we need to get them some damn good games. Anyway, this is Gel, and I hope you've enjoyed being GameMetabled. See ya.